Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the June 11th meeting of the San Dimas Rotary Club. My name is Steve Scott. I am the club president. I have been a Rotarian for about 15 years now. I am also a State Farm agent in the city of San Dimas. Very happy to be here. Very happy to see so many faces on my screen. Let's go around the room and give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. Marilyn Sparks, how are you today? Where'd you go, Marilyn? Okay, we'll go back to Marilyn. Elizabeth, how are you?
I am great. Hello, everyone. Hello, Matt. Nice to see you. Retired LSF, new Rotarian. My dog's going crazy, so I'm going with Mike.
Thanks for being here. Hi, Marianne. How's everything today?
Thank you, Steve. I'm fine. I'm Marianne Kistler, and I have been a Rotary member for over 30 years, and I'm glad to be here today.
And we are very happy that you're here, Marianne.
Thank you.
Marilyn, let's go back to you. How are you? I can see her, but I don't think she can hear me. All right, we'll move on. Casey, great to see your face. How are you?
I'm great, Steve. How are you? So Sean Casey, principal of Chaparral Vista High School in the Bonita Unified, and I've been a member now, Rotary member for 4 years.
We're very happy that you're here. Thanks so much, Sean. Casey Cox, good to see you, bud.
Glad to be here, health and wellness coach, walking people to a better life every day. Glad to be a Rotarian for a little over a decade now. I don't know, somewhere 12 years or so, hanging out with this crew, and we keep doing bigger and better things. Glad to do another one today.
Thanks for being here, Casey. Hi, Wayne. How are you today, sir?
Hi, good. I'm Wayne Schmidt, Satellite Military Rotary, and for about a year or so.
Thanks for being here, Wayne. Anthony Porter, how you doing?
I'm doing good today. Current president of Verne San Dimas Educational Foundation, also Satellite Rotary.
Thanks for being here, Anthony. And Mike Wallace, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Steve. Mike Wallace, president of Better Home Financial, and always happy to be here serving the community with the Rotary Club of San Dimas.
And we're glad you're here. Glenn Johnson, great to see that smiling face.
I'm Glenn Johnson, member of Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support.
Thank you for being here, Glenn. And last but not least, amongst the living, Raymond Foster, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Steve? Raymond Foster, a past president of Rotary Club and your Zoom master today.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If we get any stragglers, we will give them an opportunity to introduce themselves after our program. Really delighted and fortunate to introduce Matt Wien, Superintendent of Bonita Unified School District. Here today, Matt, I know school year's just wound down. I'm sure it's still a busy time for somebody in your position. We really do appreciate you taking a few minutes to speak to us.
Absolutely.
The floor is yours, sir. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me share real quick. Okay, so thanks for the opportunity to meet with this group. My name is Matt Wien. I'm superintendent of Bonita Unified. Been in Bonita Unified since 2010 in a number of different roles, but I've been superintendent now. This is the end of my third year as superintendent, and really proud of the work that we're doing in the district. And so what we're doing now is beginning to hit community groups, talking about some of our needs that we have regarding our facilities, and then some possibilities down the road. I see some familiar faces in this group. You've already heard the road show at least once. I appreciate you coming back again. By the end of it, you could probably give it yourself. But we're going to dive in. And before we jump into some of our facilities needs, I just want to give a background of the district and where we sit right now. And so based on our academic achievement and our test scores, we do rank in the top 9% of all unified school districts throughout the state of California. That is including, a 35 or 36% poverty rate in the cities of San Dimas and Laverne. And so we are doing as well as any district, K-12 district in California. You still, if you follow media, et cetera, you still will occasionally see an article about the pandemic and how many districts have not recovered from and mitigated the effects of the pandemic. That's not true for us. Bonita Unified has mitigated the effects of the pandemic, which means from an academic achievement perspective, we're scoring higher now than we were in 2019. And there are about 350 unified school districts in California. Only 15, based on the end of 2024, only 15 of those districts have mitigated the pandemic. We're one of those 15. And out of the 15, only 5 could be considered high achieving, and we're one of those 5. And so we're really proud of the work that we do academically in the district. It's California Reading Coalition based in Palo Alto up there by Stanford. It's a group who has been recently formed the last 5 or 6 years to really tackle early literacy in our school systems. And they rank our program, our early literacy program, #1 in the state of California. And we're really proud of that accolade. And then just the last 2 years, we've had 2 National Blue Ribbon schools, 3 Distinguished School Awards, and then 1 Model Continuation High School. And so got a lot of great things happening in this district, and I feel fortunate just to be a piece of it. Great staff, great kids, great parents, great community support. And that's kind of why I'm here, is to talk about ways the community can continue to support our district. And so what you see in front of you, and you'll see a series of 4 or 5 of these now, is the outside of our schools. And so if the community members, if you do not have students and you're not going on our campuses and you just drive by the campuses, they look outstanding. Green, paint looks great, the buildings are good. From the curbside appeal is high. This is Bonita High School, beautiful spring day. This is the outside of Roynan, which looks like a park in many situations. This one literally looks like a park. It's at Grace Miller. Little work they did outside. Another shot here of Roynan. This is X-Strand. This is the center of X-Strand. And then you can see Bonita High School again. And so I show these pictures because for the community at large who don't have students in the district, the assumption is that the facilities that we have are top-notch, they're in good shape, and that we would not have any needs relative to our facilities. And what we're trying to begin to communicate to the community is that even though they look good from the outside, there are things that we definitely need to improve. And so what you see on the screen, every few years, the district engages in a needs assessment. And I put needs in quotes. A lot of it is needs, some of it is want, but a facilities needs assessment, right? When we recently did that, you get to the bottom right-hand corner of that, the total projected costs of the needs and the wishes come to over $1 billion. That number is a cartoon number. You know, we would never have $1 billion to put forth for our facilities. But through a process that we'll talk about in a few minutes, there is a way for us to get a portion of money to upgrade our facilities. And when you have a $1 billion wish list and a needs list, the first step is to begin to pare that down to a manageable list. And so what I want to highlight for you are the things that we have highlighted as a district as a prioritized needs list. And first on that list are the HVAC systems. Our HVAC systems are outdated. Many are 30, some are 40 years old, long surpassing the shelf life. And although some of the pictures can kind of tell the story, the one in the upper right-hand corner tells the story. That's a thermostat from last fall when the air conditioner broke in a classroom. That's reading 87 degrees. And so you can imagine in a classroom with students in it, teachers in it trying to teach, 87 degrees is not a functional environment in which to teach the kids, right? And so when we have aging systems, which we do, they do break down more frequently. And not only is it more frequent, but because of the aging systems, it's harder for us to get the materials needed to repair them in a timely fashion. And so the longer it takes, the more rooms we have that look like thermostats of 87 degrees. So that's one prioritized need for us. Now there's plumbing. The pictures here literally tell the story, right? And it's just like your home. When the plumbing goes south at your house, everything falls apart. And so you can see some of these pictures. Last year, in the 23-24 school year, we actually had a plumbing issue at San Dimas High School that required us to cancel school for a day because we did not have workable restrooms. And so we had to, right at the last minute, about 7:30 in the morning, send a notice out to teachers, staff, and students, parents saying no school at San Dimas. And then we had to send a waiver to the state saying, you know, emergency, we couldn't attend school that day. So we do need to make some massive upgrades on the plumbing systems throughout the district. And so you're going to see a theme. A lot of this is infrastructure type issues that we have. Some of this, about a third of our buildings on our campuses are portables. Portables were originally designed to be temporary. That has not been the case for the vast majority of ours. Again, we've got many portables that are decades old, 40 plus years. You can see here the repairs that they would need to go through. But it's not only the portable as far as the age of them, but we're running out of space. And so many districts in the state of California are experiencing declining enrollment. We are not one of those. We're steady at about 10,000 kids, and we've been about 10,000 kids for a number of years. And so you might ask yourself the question, if you're steady, why do you need more space? It would seem that with the same number of kids that you would not need more space. We've added a lot of programs in the last decade. So we've augmented our CTE programs, which require more space. We have added a whole other grade level, transitional kindergarten, which 4-year-olds come in now. And we feel like over time that will just replace kindergarten as the first year of school, which will be TK. We've augmented our mental health counseling programs, office space, etc. And so although the students number remain constant, we definitely need more space on campus. Another overarching category, safety and security, always one we talk to the community is one they want us to focus on, and it's one that we desperately need to focus on. We need to upgrade our fire systems. We need to upgrade our communication systems throughout on the school sites. To the surprise of many, our schools do not have camera systems. Our high schools have a couple ring cameras on them. But other than that, there is no systematic camera system. We definitely want to upgrade that. The camera systems, always a shock to me, way more expensive to implement those, especially on a comprehensive high school campus, which has a lot of acreage, etc. And so we definitely want to add camera systems for the future for the security of the kids. And then you'll notice a couple of our sites at Roynan and at Extrand, you have to actually physically go on campus to enter the main office. All right. And so there's not an exterior door. You have to leave the campus open. And so Extrand and Roynan are essentially open campuses, and we want to fix that. So we want to shore those off. We want to move the main office at Extrand, make it out exterior facing. So the first point of entry would be the main office, as opposed to having anyone be able to just access the campus. Another overarching category, if you want to do a time warp, go to our high school science labs. It's like going in a time machine about 45 years ago. They have not been consistently upgraded. We need to upgrade the science experiences at our high schools. It is possible for students to get their 2 years of science at high school and not go into a functioning science lab because we don't have enough of them and they have not been upgraded. And for 2 high schools that consistently rate at the top in the state of California, it is a disservice to have our science labs this far behind. That's something else that we definitely need to shore up as a district. And then you can see here just some updated science labs that have been done around us. And that's the type of situation that we would go for. And so you can see that our academic achievement is high. We're proud of that. The exterior of our schools, they look good. Curbside appeal is high. However, we have a lot of needs, and you can see those prioritized needs. Now, the question is, to upgrade those, how do you fund it? All right. And we often hear, well, why don't you just use your general fund to pay for the upgrades? Our general fund could not in any way close to sustain that type of infrastructure or facilities upgrades. And so one of the ways that districts, really the only real feasible way that districts can fund these types of projects are through a general obligation bond. All right. And a general obligation bond is something that goes on the ballot and the community votes on it. And we are anticipating that in June of 2026, Bonita Unified would go to the community and ask for a bond measure to help us with the needs that we have with our infrastructure. All right. The way the bond works, it's based on the assessed value, not the market value, but the assessed value of your home. And so the maximum rate you can go for as a district is $60 for every 100,000 of assessed value. So if you have a home that's assessed at 600,000, then this bond would give you a bill of $360 per year on your tax bill. Based on the property assessed values in both Laverne and San Dimas, the most that we would be able to receive from a bond like this, if it passes, is $260 million. So you can see it's about a quarter of what that overall wish list slash needs list had, but 260 would be a great start to get us on the road to hit our prioritized areas of the HVAC, the plumbing, etc. Now, interesting, when it goes on the bond, it's a 55 on the election ballot. It's a 55% pass rate. So you have to have 55% or it doesn't pass. It's not like many elections that's 50.1. It's 55% to pass it. Whenever we talk to the community, one of the first questions they ask is, okay, you get the money, how do we ensure that it's being spent in the right way? And so this slide is just to give you a little bit of background on that. First and foremost, there is a bond oversight committee that we would form. It's made up of community members that would meet periodically, and then you would see all the inside information to make sure that we are doing our due diligence and spending the money the way it's supposed to be spent. There are audits that are required. Those audits go to the board, to the public, etc. So there's a lot of fail-safe systems in there to ensure that we're spending it in the way that it's intended. If you live in the community, you know that Bonita Unified has done this before. There are 2 existing bonds on your tax bill right now. So Measure C, one from 2004, and then Measure AB, one that was passed in 2008. And you can see the specific info related to each one of those. Here's the important piece of it, is Measure C, that drops off your tax bill in 2031. And then Measure AB will drop off tax bills in 2038. All right, so we're going to come back to this idea of already having 2 on the books to kind of put some context in it. But there are 2 that the community really overwhelmingly passed at 62% and then 61% in the past. You can see some of the projects that we have completed with the previous bonds that the community supported. Upper left-hand corner is district office. That was a complete rebuild. In the middle on the top is our Performing Arts Center, which is state-of-the-art, serves not only our district, but many community needs for both cities. It's kind of a hub for events, etc. We upgraded our gyms. We added 2 middle school gyms, upgraded outdoor facilities at the high schools, etc. The main difference between the previous bonds and the one we're going for in 2026 would be you see a lot of structures in buildings on the previous ones. So much of what our needs are right now are infrastructure. And so it's a key distinguishing factor between the 2 is that if we were able to pass the bond in 2026, and then for the 5-10 years that we begin to engage in it, you're not necessarily going to see these huge structures like you did before, but it's vitally important for us to shore up the infrastructure. Here's just a chart showing what the tax obligation is right now for residents. It's about $66 per 100,000. That's what's on your bill right now. And then what this chart shows is on 2031, about half of it falls off. And then in 2038, all of it would fall off. That's if we didn't add the third one. This is the important context on the 2 bonds that you are already paying for. As you can see at the bottom third, that yellow line, that's where Bonita Unified is in their tax assessment for the residents. We're at $66 per 100,000. That's in the bottom third of unified school districts in LA County. All right, and so even though there are 2 current ones, we're still in the bottom third relative to the rest of the districts in LA County. If we were able to pass the third bond at a $60 rate, that would put us at 126, and you can see on the chart that puts us in the upper quarter, not at the top, but about the upper quarter of districts if we were able to add the third. And so we do anticipate as we go out and have conversations that there could possibly be a concern that there's already 2 on the books, but as we communicate, it's important for us to communicate, yes, there are 2, but we're still in the bottom third of overall assessed valuation. And then what the community will begin to see, and this is an example of it, is information that we're going to send to all community members really beginning this summer, going into fall and winter, just about what our needs are as a district to begin to lay the groundwork to express our needs and then be able to meet with groups and community members to be able to answer any questions that you would have, not only about our facilities, but about the potential for the bond in 2026. And so I appreciate the time, and now I'm open up to any questions you would have about any topic related to Bonita Unified. Are there any questions?
Hi, Matt. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. I have two questions. One, I know that my son goes to Bonita Unified. He's at Troll, but I know that there's a lot of transfers from outside cities,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Can we hold or putting, for all the kids that we have outside of San Dimas and Laverne, would they be responsible for, additional money?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So about a little under a quarter, between 20 and 25% of our students in Bonita Unified come from outside the district. All right, and that's because of what we started with. Our academic program is one of the best in the areas. You take districts like Walnut and Arcadia, outside of those two, then we're right at the top. And so we are a draw. The only people who vote on this measure and the only people who would be assessed the tax would be those who live within the boundaries of the district. All right, and so that's just important to know. And a piece of this that we try to communicate, and you all know it because you're living it, is so many of our residents do not currently have students in the district. And so the question might be, why support another tax measure to help a school system within the community? I believe, and I in my conversations with many of you, you believe that the school system can drive the community. And certainly relative to any individual motivation, it certainly drives the property values in both cities. And so you can see, just from a real estate perspective, that the housing market, both in Laverne and San Dimas, is soaring, as it is everywhere, but it's particularly expensive in these two cities. And we do feel that part of that, not all of it, but part of it, is relative to the fact that the school system performs so well. It is a destination. These two cities are destinations. They're destinations not only because they're great cities, but a piece of that is because of the school district. But to answer the question, yeah, it would only be people within the district that would vote and or pay the tax on it.
One more question.
Sure.
You know that obviously this is especially San Dimas has much older generation that does not have kids in school. Let's say they sell the house and obviously property taxes go up. Now, the property, let's say it's $60 that you said per 100.
Yes.
What if they sell the house for double what it's worth today? Will the new owners be responsible for the additional tax fees, or does it kind of grandfather into the day this gets voted in?
No, it's going to be the assessed value at the time. It's going to be assessed value when it's purchased. So it's going to be the assessed value of the house, not the purchase price, but the assessed value of the house.
From the date that this bond goes into measure. So like it can't change in 5 years when they sell that property and you guys get more money.
It would change to the new owner. Yeah, the new owner would then pay whatever the assessed value is at the time that they have. So it's not.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's not frozen. It's when you sell it, it would start over.
Got it. So you guys could end up with a little bit more than $250 million, I believe you said, right?
Well, I guess that's a great question. The mechanics of that, I don't fully know the mechanics of that, but I don't know if it would be enough to severely change those numbers. But,
no, but I'm not saying that you guys are going to get everything you want.
Sure.
But just the additional money when people do sell the property, things like that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Rita. We have any other questions for Matt? Sean Casey, this would be your opportunity to say this is what we need to use that money for, and you're just staying quiet. I can't believe it.
Well, so I won't. And what I will tell you is the infrastructure especially when we look at things like, our units and things like that. For those of you that don't know, the state has changed compliancy in the past 5 years from R22 to R132, which means that systems have to be upgraded because, and not just schools everywhere, right? Because of the depletion of the ozone layer and things like that. So we're working against laws, we're working against various things. And it's going to require some upgrades and some changes. And some of these things, are just they are what they are, right? They're the cost. If we look at the security piece, that's huge. For me, security is probably the biggest thing when it comes to our kids and the future of our kids within this community. I take safety very seriously, and it's not just about, it's one thing to support our kids and help them feel safe in our schools, which they do, and we take great pride in that. But also when we look at the exterior of the schools and things like that, just making sure that we're doing all the things that we need to with the cameras and everything else to make sure that our kids are safe. That's huge. That's big. And Steve, thank you for bringing that up. We pride ourselves, guys, in our community, not only on the San Dimas side, but also on the Verne side. And I guess a couple things I would say to that is some of you may or may not have students, within our district now, but maybe had at one time. And therefore they are legacy, and we do help them and want to help anyone and everyone live their purpose, because that's what we're about. So that extends a long way when you think about the connection to the Bonita Unified School District and our communities, and how important it is, and not only in past, but in future. And to maintain that presence and do what we need to do is going to require this kind of work to ensure that we are taking care of our kids for tomorrow and years to come.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you, Sean.
Yep.
Well said.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah,
Jump in.
Matthew.
Go ahead.
Matthew.
Go, Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne Schmidt. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you.
If you haven't, I know it's a cost amount, but for your campuses, if you have not, you might want to look at live view rentals for your security systems for your cameras.
Okay.
I just did a site survey assisting someone else, and it was a fairly large campus. Wasn't a school campus, it was another type of campus, but 3 live view units covered the entire campus.
Okay.
Something you might want to look at.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm gonna make a note of that.
Thank you, Wayne.
Great.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'll give Matt, I'll give you a little feedback as you look at this Rotary group. Rita has a child in the district, and I see Lisa's on, and I know she is connected to the district as well. But for the vast majority of us, we don't have our kids. We no longer have kids in there, so we're the ones you have to convince, because we kind of go, As I look at the Measure B, the A, B, and the C, which you were not superintendent when those were passed, you've inherited a terrible reality. It looks like our district has spent a lot of money on building infrastructure and beautiful buildings, and not built the structure underneath it. And now we're going back and going, I got a really nice car, and I got a really nice TV, and I got a really nice this, but I can't afford my electricity bill. I can't put gas in the car. I'm just giving you feedback, especially as we look at our budgeting and our finances and our current economy struggling. My feedback for you is how do we reword this? And I'm thinking out loud for you that it becomes a rally cry for us to put those student needs first. I think you did a great job. I'm trying to give you feedback. I think we got our work cut out for you, and I'll say we got our work cut out for us. How do we raise this money, because our kids need it, but nobody wants to pay for this. It's a challenge. So I think your descriptions of the sewer issues at San Dimas High are powerful. I think everybody knows the safety needs. I don't think that is as motivating. Because it hasn't ever gone backwards or been worse. It just is. It's ongoing. I just give you the opportunity. Come back. I don't know that you convince. Speaking for myself, I don't think you convinced me of anything new.
Okay.
I think there's got to be a new flip on the lens that goes, oh man, Yeah, this is something I really want to get behind. I'm just inviting you to not look at the numbers as much because that's a daunting figure with two measures and you want to add a third moving up to the top. It's kind of like, hey, let's punt this thing for another 5 years until those things go away. And I know once it goes to the ballot measure, it's way too costly to get it punted for 5 more years. Um, so that's my feedback. I think we need to dig a little deeper, otherwise it's going to get punted. I mean, postponed until, hey, let's let the next group of people push this on. I've still got these two to pay because 2031 is still a long way away.
It is. Thanks for the feedback, Casey. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Casey. Well, Matt, again, we know how busy you are. We really appreciate you taking time, and we,
Can
as
I
our
say
little
something?
grassroots. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I missed it.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to go in and say that I fully support Bonita Unified. I'm an employee of Bonita Unified, and as said my name previously, you're right. I don't have any of my own children in the district right now, but I do have a niece and a nephew, and I own several real estate pieces in the district that I would support something like this because number one, it helps my family. It it will certainly, when we retire and leave the district, like somebody said, it's going to help the value, not just because of the community that we live in, but because of the schools that our children get the options to go to. And I live right between two of the best schools in the district, so I know that our real estate is very much increased because of that. But I don't see as an employee how somebody can say that it's not the right time to do this, because this isn't only the safety of 10,000 students, but it's also the employees that are going to benefit from this. And for Bonita to keep going on and stay functional, you want good teachers who want to come and work in safer schools and schools that, are very welcoming and very updated. I mean, we have to stay with, some of these technology based, Orange County schools that right now we can't even keep up with, that has about the same real estate values as us. So I fully support this. And yes, if it does go on our tax bill, well, that's just something that we who want to stay in the nice area that we have or will be raising children in is a cost of doing business. I support this. I'm sorry. I can't say that you need to tell me more, just my personal life.
Well, Lisa, I appreciate that. And here, I guess here's a distinction that I would make is in my role as superintendent, at this time, I can only educate the community on the facilities needs and educate them on the process by which it would be funded. I am not in this capacity able to advocate and i.e. campaign for the bond. That's something completely separate. All right. And so what happens is our facilities groups in the district that will at some point be transitioned to a campaign committee that is separate from the district. And the campaign then the committee then runs the campaign. All right. And so this today is not a campaign. It's not trying to convince you or sell you. I'm simply explaining these are the needs that we have. We do not have the general fund to pay for them. This is a mechanism by which the community could support, and that's all I can do. So I want to draw that distinction moving forward. Go ahead, Casey.
That's a huge distinction, Matt. I appreciate that. And Lisa, I wanna just commend you for sharing. I think you brought up what I was looking to give back to Matt as another angle. I had never thought about that angle of the employees that are working in these facilities experiencing this situation, because for the most part, those are other people who want to move into our area, who want to live in the same district that they're teaching in. And I think that's a phenomenal approach, is saying, hey, for the wellness of our educators, BUSD is the largest employer, if I'm not mistaken, by one business. We've got the most employees that are in this area. I would look at how many employees do we have that live in the San Dimas and Laverne area. I think that's a valuable perspective because it hits another perspective, not just paying or taking care of the students, which is a high value, but it brings another lens on how we're going to impact a whole nother specter of life. So thanks, Lisa.
I want to throw in another perspective at you, Casey. I get it. A lot of you guys may not have kids in the district at the moment, and that's fine. But a lot of you will have grandkids in the district. So why not better it today so they don't have to deal with this in 10 years, in 5 years? That's I'd love for my son to have a nice classroom with his education, but I'm here for the education. So I don't care if he's, in the classroom at the moment that is not, a full-blown building. And a lot of people will look at it that way. If I can't fix it for my kids, I'm going to fix it for my grandkids, especially ones that are going to stay in this district for a long time.
Thanks, Rita. Okay, a lot of spirited discussion. That's fantastic. We like that. So thank you all for your participation. Matt, most importantly, thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for what you do in the school district. As somebody who's merely a business owner in the city, I don't reside here. I don't have children that go here. Being in the Rotary Club has allowed me to see the great things that you all do, the students, the teachers, admin, everybody. So we appreciate the relationship and we appreciate the time you've given us today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right, you bet. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, let's move on to the next portion of our meeting. Fine, Master. It looks like we have to raise like $1 billion, Casey, so get to work.
We can raise the money. Hey, I'll find myself if my comment came off as if I wasn't if I was opposed to the bond. I was literally just trying to give Matt some feedback to say there's got to be another way to approach this. That's all my feedback was. I'm going to vote in positive. I agree exactly what Rita's saying, and I think San Dimas Laverne typically falls that way. All right, that was my soapbox. That cost me $10. Hey, we find ourselves to talk. What do you want to talk about? Tell me something that's fine. Tell me something that's not fine, and let's talk it through. Our year is ending up.
Yeah, folks, here's the deal. The end of this month, we have to pay our fines anyway. So you might as well get on your soapbox right now because we're coming to collect no matter what. So now is your opportunity.
I'll go. I will find myself the remaining balance of my fines, whatever that is. I'm all in on this fine, I guess. But no, I wanted to mention that and thank both Rita and Raymond. We made the Chamber of Commerce presentation to the City Council, the annual Chamber of Commerce presentation last night. And I think it went really well. Both Rita and Raymond did an excellent job of presenting their parts and laying out the future vision of the chamber and the great work that the ambassadors have been doing. So I want to thank both of them. And obviously Sylvia isn't here, but she's the backbone of the chamber. So just wanted to thank everyone, and yeah, that's all I got.
Excellent. Thanks, Mike.
Anybody else? Go all in.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Appreciate that.
You got it.
Okay, moving on to the Action 360. Raymond, why don't you give us an update on the food drive?
So the food drive is August 23rd. The kickoff party is August 21st. A couple things. The sheriffs are back in a limited role. I spoke to Captain Billy today. As you know, the fires knocked him out in March, but they are busy right now. And so he said that they're going to come in as much as they can. And Glenn, he wants Thursday as a delivery date for them. And I told him that we would accommodate the on-duty sheriffs to bring whatever they have. Also, based on the letters that have gone out and the website, we're getting inquiries from far and wide for donation boxes. So it's all moving forward very well. And then this Friday, we'll be going to Life Pacific University to speak to them, sign the contract for the Marine Corps dinner. I know several of the Rotarians, as well as from the Diamond Bar Women's Club, are going to be present there. Lastly, I spoke to Steve, but also I got a call from the Armed Services YMCA, the executive director, Patrick, out there at 29 Palms. And you may or may not know, but if you went on the site visit, you saw the uniform depot they have there, where they provide the younger Marines with so many uniforms per month, and those things are very expensive. And they've got the commanding general of that base, who we met when we were out there, has given more space to the Armed Services YMCA. And what they're going to do is expand that uniform store for the enlisted personnel. And Patrick called and he said, first thing I thought of was San Dimas Rotary to help me figure out how I can get this thing built. So it sounds like, we've talked about, we've got our cornhole tournament coming up, and maybe we've got a perfect way to go forward with that. And so that's all I've got on food drives and Marine Corps dinner. But I think maybe a little bit about the cornhole would be great too.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Raymond.
Raymond. You want more of an update on cornhole?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, quick question. Is it possible, and it may not be something we can track, but do we know if, we have that banner over the corner of San Dimas and Bonita. Do we know if people have scanned that barcode, if we've gotten any donations or any, is it possible to track like where things are coming from?
I know that we received a $100 donation through that. So obviously any money that comes in goes into PayPal's process that way. And I know that we receive emails from it every other day or so to info@feedingmilitaryfamilies.org. And so so it is having some impact. I was looking at the banner myself and thinking, maybe it needs to be moved to someplace else, because they sure left it up there a while.
It's been there a while. I drove by today and I was like, huh, all right, we're still holding court over there.
And somebody called me yesterday and said, hey, your banner, I went to your website and you still have the August 23rd or the March 3rd date up on the website for the food drive. And so part of the artwork we're using needs to be updated. So yes, there is, to answer your question, I don't have analytics from it, but I do know that we are getting traffic from it in the form of donations and emails.
Okay, great. Yeah, as far as the cornhole tournament, I think we have some work to do pretty quickly to put together, the registration and get that kind of built out. Really what we need now is probably a flyer and a virtual flyer, and to just spread the word. I know I've been talking to my friends and people that I think may be interested, and kind of trying to rally support, getting people committed to signing up. I know Steve's been doing the same thing, and then getting raffle prizes, and that's really kind of where we're at. But I completely agree with you, Raymond. If we have a cause to attach to it, and maybe a fundraising goal of what it would take to help Patrick out to build out that uniform exchange or trade-in, giveaway, whatever it is, then I think that we can set a goal and then push to reach the goal.
So I asked them to send me particulars on the number of uniforms, number of people they service, how big it is, how much they need. They're working on that. I'll get that back to you. Mike, I have a question. How many cornhole target boards will there be in this? Do you know?
I know that they have put on, go ahead, Steve, if you know the exact.
I think it's 8. So where there could be 8 matches going on at once.
Can we sell sponsorships of each of like a piece of something we would put over the board? And we'd like tape to the board a sign that said this is sponsored by such and such.
I don't see an issue with that at all.
My concern with that would be if it's a sign that goes on the board, if people are kind of crazy enthusiasts of cornhole and it changes the texture of the board, that may be frowned upon. But we could certainly put a sign behind, and oh, your game is on the Better Home Financial Court. Your first game is on the law offices of Rita Karesic McGee Court. I think we could certainly do that. And then if we could figure out, a sign that doesn't make the board more slippery or whatever, then I think that would be great.
I think you put it on the back of each
Yeah, like a T
cornhole
sign.
stand. I think that's what you do. So that way it's not impacting the board at all.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, if you put anything on that board, it's going to affect the bag, sliding or not sliding or getting hung up.
Yeah, so if we put it on the wood backing, I don't think that would be an issue at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like when you're doing a golf tournament, you got a little
Right.
sign sitting next to the green or whatever that says sponsored by. Boom.
That's exactly
Well,
right. Yep. Thank you, Wayne.
I'll shoot you guys, Mike, and anybody else who wants to work with Mike and Steve and I on this committee to get the cornhole tournament, let me know. And then maybe we could have another quick meeting to discuss, get the registration going and how much we're going to sponsor, how many courts there are, so we get that going. But thank you. Okay, good.
Yeah, here's the biggest thing about what we need to accomplish. No different than golf tournaments. If you tell people, hey, we're having a golf tournament on this day and you can pay your entry that day, you're going to get a lot of RSVPs and not a lot of show ups. We need to figure out a way that people can register and pay prior to the day of, because if they've registered and paid, they're kind of pot committed and they're more likely to attend. Otherwise, we're going to get a lot of promises. So that's something that we need to put our heads together and try to figure out how to make work.
Yeah, Steve, do you think what do you think about a sliding scale? Like, pre-registration and pay is one price and day of is higher. Do you like that idea?
I do, and it's obviously step one of this is figuring out the way to do the pre-registration.
Right.
But I think rewarding people for early registration is always a good idea. Okay. So I think that's it on Action 360. Raymond, would you mind putting up the count? Oh, wait, actually, I'm take that back. There is one other thing. As I said during the fine portion of our meeting, the end of our year is June 30th, which means fines, any dues, we really like to be sewn up before Mike's year starts. If you want to mail a payment, I just put my office address in the chat. You can mail it to me. If you want to coordinate with Raymond or coordinate with me, we can pick it up. You can drop it off. But we really want to try to get things cleaned up. If you need to know what your balance is, please ask Raymond or I, and we can provide you with that information and try to get everything squared away as quickly as possible. Now to the calendar.
Awesome. So this month we have this Friday is Life Pacific University site visit. Kickout parties, the next major event, that is in a little more than a week, or is that in a week?
That is in 1 week from today, sir.
So it is a Wednesday night. Awesome.
Yep.
And that will be at Zendejas. I guess I better give them a call and tell them we're coming. And then the 24th, the planning meeting, our last meeting for Rotary will be Hope Team will be on the 25th of June. So now looking at coming up in next year, we've already got quite a bit, but our first speaker will be Lisa Kirkwood on cultural communications. And then after that, in August, we'll have Steve Ham, the first sergeant of the Space Force. So if you got questions for the Space Force, this will be the guy to talk to. So that'll be exciting. That's what we got coming up.
Perfect. Thank you, Raymond. Okay, folks, really good meeting today. Sean, thank you and Raymond for coordinating this. Matt being able to be here today. I know that we were trying to figure out a day, so I'm glad we were able to lock one in. Really appreciate everybody's involvement. These are the healthy types of interactions and dialogues we want to create in a club like this. And so I'm grateful that we had so many people here. I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. I even more hope that everybody attends next Wednesday at the kickout party. Plenty of reasons to be happy to kick me out. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody then.
One more
Awesome.
before people leave. Tomorrow night, Rita and Marilyn's office grand opening of their new office on Arrow Highway. Rita, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a grand opening. We're gonna do a mixer. I called it a grand opening because I wasn't sure what else to call it. But we will have our mixer here at 5. I believe it's 5 to 6 or 5 to 7, but nobody ever leaves at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. We will have appetizers. We're gonna have Mike, the ice cream truck here. So I know it's gonna be hot, and Mike puts crack in that ice cream because I could never get enough. So come on down. We'll have some wine, we'll have drinks, we'll have ice cream, we'll have charcuterie, we'll have good time.
Excellent. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Mike. Okay, folks, we will see you all next week. Have a wonderful rest of the day.